Warhammer fans and Total War viewers, how are you doing tonight? HeirofCarthage here, and I am bringing you another online battle as I am practicing for the tournament that is upcoming. I think it's in March, the one I'm going to appear in, I don't even know, but it's a random tournament, so I have a random faction picker that I have on a website. I've put in all the factions, and this time it picked me the Beastmen. I am playing against the Pirates of Sartosa. An interesting pick that it wasn't the Vampire Coast, so I had to assume that my opponent wanted to use Aranessa and potentially some Pirates of Sartosa type units. In this army, I've actually got 3 Minotaurs with shields. I want something that's going to hit hard and have a little bit of protection from gunfire. And then in my main front here, I've got an Ungor Spear Herd and 2 Ungor Herds. I'm using Malagor the Dark Omen with Vile Tide and Devolve. Or, sorry, not Vile Tide, it's Devolve and Traitorkin, my bad. So, able to do direct damage to either blobs of infantry or single unit entities. I have 2 Ungor Raiders behind them in case I need to skirmish out, again, some zombies with guns. On my flanks, I've got a Gore Herd with shield, a Gore Herd, and an Ungor Spear on both flanks. So it's an equivalent flank, and I'm spread wide for an enveloping maneuver. Way back in the back, I've deployed 2 Warhounds with poison and 2 standard Centigores. These units are all meant to combine together to do potentially large damage to key units that my opponent's fielding. In the back, my opponent has 2 Depth Guard and a 3rd, which is the Bloody Reaver. So a lot of money spent on deck guards back here. He's also got the Black Spot Zombie Gunnery Mob with handguns. And indeed, he does have Aranessa. She is anti-large, anti-armor. And he's got a Deathstreak Terrorgeist and a Gunnery White. Gunnery White is a bit of an interesting pick here because he doesn't actually have a ton of artillery or anything in this fight. Up front, my opponent has the Night Terrors, which is a Vanguard Deploy Morngul. And he's also got some Sartosa Free Company and a Sartosa Militia, which is a gun unit here. Not sure why you pick the Sartosan units, to be honest, because I'm not sure that they're great, and they can potentially rout. So, not a unit I would want as the Vampire Coast, but my opponent has gone with them. These Night Terrors will not do well against Minotaurs. They will get slaughtered. And again, I'm glad that I brought the Minotaurs with shields at this point, because we are going to be dealing with a lot of gunfire. You can see a Sartosa Militia gets absolutely clobbered by Gorbul's cousins, and they're going to just roll back in here and start attacking the guns. They get pulled back, though, due to having gotten involved. My opponent decided to attack this flank with his Deathstreak Terrorgeist. Kind of an interesting point of attack, because he's kind of unsupported out here. In a moment, I'm able to start moving those flanks forward. You can see I'm already doing it on my left flank. My right flank will eventually get moving and start to roll in. You can see I've issued those orders now. I'm going to send some Minotaurs out here to pin down the Deathstreak Terrorgeist. They should be able to do decent damage. I do recognize that he has the Bloody Reavers here, but I am going to try and go for a quick charge and do a lot of damage to this Black Spot unit because I don't think that there's much my opponent can do about it as long as I'm in and out. I'm able to tear through all of his Free Company, which leaves just his Depth Guard. Now, his Depth Guard will perform well, very well, in fact, against most of my Beastmen units here. But he's lost so many support units. Now, I guess that you got this Spearfisher's net here that Aranessa is going to use to stop my Centigores, but not before they manage to cause a lot of damage to his Black Spot Gunners. I am going to go ahead and pull all these units out. You can see I was a little bit slow on the order with my Warhounds, so they never even engaged. I've got my spare infantry. My opponent has gotten wrapped up hard on the flanks, and my Minotaurs are roaming free. In the back, he's shifted his Deathstreak Terrorgeist to chase my 2 Ungor Raiders, which is definitely a better target for him. But by so doing, he gets caught by my Minotaurs, and again, they're going to cause a lot of damage, and he's going to continue to get shot by my other unit of archers, so not enough Terrorgeist to hold down my entire backline. Malagor was able to use Devolve once to get some damage done, and now he's going to use Traitorkin here. Start trying to do a little bit of damage to Spinny McSpin back there, otherwise known as Aranessa Saltspite, the Queen of Spin. These Bloody Reavers are doing a lot of damage. That is a tough unit to deal with. This other Depth Guard over here, though, 57 kills, not a great trade for them yet. This Depth Guard has done well, 141 kills. It is just absolutely racking up kills, but it's against units that are cheap, and it hasn't even picked up a Chevron yet, so just kind of give you an idea. The Gunnery White's just been bogged down in combat. Malagor I'm just being relatively safe with. The Deathstreak Terrorgeist is going to continue to get shot by my archers, and if he comes down, he's going to get mauled by Minotaur, so my opponent decides that that is no longer a favorable engagement, and he's going to bring the Deathstreak Terrorgeist back into the main battle. I see that Aranessa is temporarily singled out, so I'm going to bring in all the Poison Warhounds. I've got infantry there, and I'm just going to pour it on to Aranessa for just a minute and see if we can get some pretty significant damage done. She is taking damage, slower than I'd like, but she's taking the damage. In the meantime, the Deathstreak Terrorgeist is going to attack Malagor. Malagor should be able to withstand a little, and then I'm able to bring over the Warhounds and the Centaurs. Malagor gets pinned where he can't run off, but my opponent's Terrorgeist is in really big trouble here, much more danger than Malagor was in. But with the Bloody Reavers nearby, I do decide to go ahead and pull out, at least for a moment, because Malagor is safe. And I'm going to go ahead and engage the Bloody Reavers with some Gore Herds, and then charge back in, and you can see I get tremendous damage done on the Deathstreak Terrorgeist. And despite the fact that my opponent's Depth Guard here is just giving my guys an absolute shellacking, it's still not going to pay off, and then my Minotaurs are able to come in, and they will make quite short work of this Depth Guard unit. Now, Minotaurs don't have a ton of armor, so the Depth Guard would be able to deal some damage to them pretty effectively, but you can see that the Depth Guard got wrecked. Aranessa is not a vampire, and thus she can break, and she does break, and my Beastmen are able to put a pretty swift and fairly decisive end to the Pirates of Sartosa. Now, it's an interesting army from my opponent. I don't think it's a great pick. It's cool, it's themed, and I like that. I like that he's online trying to go pick kind of a cool theme and make it work. I do the same thing from time to time. In fact, earlier tonight, I was playing some Tomb Kings battles with Katep, where my theme was kind of all around the Casket of Souls. Didn't go great for me, but it was fun. Fun nonetheless. So I get the themed armies. It's fun to do that kind of thing. He was kind of hoping for this whole piratey thing with the Sartosans, a hard-hitting line in the back. I think he was probably hoping to cause more damage with his Morn Ghouls and his guns, and then by the time I got to his back lines, he would have too much hard-hitting infantry for me to be able to deal with. However, in this case, the Deathstreak Terrorgeist didn't end up proving to be very valuable to him because he kept having to throw it at units where it wasn't going to get a good return on investment. Yes, it killed a decent number of my Ungor Raiders, but those are relatively cheap units, and they weren't otherwise having a huge impact on the battle. The Deathstreak Terrorgeist, anytime it landed, it was either going to be threatened by Minotaurs or the quick-moving Centaurs and Warhounds. I think maybe for the Pirates of Sartosa to have done a little better here. Honestly, having a couple, I mean, I brought Malagor for a reason. If he brought a whole bunch of ethereal units, that's what I was going to use Devolve for. That was going to be my way of dealing with ethereal units. So, I don't know. It's hard to say what my opponent should have done here. The Beastmen are great at cutting down low armor infantry. Definitely feel like that leaving behind the human units for the Pirates of Sartosa would be a good idea. They're pretty weak, and they do have leadership, meaning that they can rout. And the Beastmen are pretty good at putting a quick rout on anything that comes with low armor and is dependent on leadership stats. So the Morn Ghouls, not a bad pick. They're anti-infantry. They should do decent against a lot of low armor Beastmen units. So I don't think that's a terrible pick. Aranessa can hold her own in a lot of fights pretty well. And when she's not mounted, it makes it to where she's harder to kill, as she's a fairly resilient unit. Again, you can see the Depth Guard getting a ton of kills. They were going to kill a lot of units. In the end, the Bloody Reavers crumbled. There was still a decent number of them left. So it was really leadership, and that is a big snag for Depth Guard. Even in a situation where they could potentially shine here against a bunch of this low armor infantry, they still crumbled because of the loss of leadership. They just didn't have the support. And they were going to have to deal with Minotaurs, which definitely would have given them a challenge. Maybe not so much the Bloody Reavers, but the other two, yes, could have potentially challenged them. But fun battle, thanks to Oods. Like the fact that you're out there playing the multiplayer, trying to go with something themed. I like those themed builds, like I said myself. So again, I think I need to continue. This one went better for me than my previous practice match. I need to continue to work the same old stuff. I did a little better here, but I got to keep my eye on those unit cards. Always keep an eye on the battle map. I think this time I did decent. I don't think I had any units go unused or any units sitting around inactive for a long period of time. So it was able to work out for me here. I don't think my opponent's army was in a great position to defeat the widespread Beastmen army that I had. And I was able to execute and, like I said, gain a somewhat decisive victory there. Appreciate the game from my opponent. It was fun. If you all want to see more, make sure to stick around. I'm going to be having more practice matches, and I will be uploading those. And we'll kind of have this journey all through the practice and through the tournament. Should be pretty fun. HeirofCarthage signing out. I will see you soon.